everybody, and thanks for tuning back into another episode here on the Speedbug channel. Today we got an episode not at all focused here on motorcycles. It is about Snow White. Got the cover halfway off of her and such. Now, doing a little maintenance and stuff on Snow White because it's definitely time. So we got to flush her out, change her fluids. We're going to do a quick oil change on Snow White. So my followers that have C7 Vets, obviously with the dry sump pump, because this car has the dry sump system with the container on the side. You do not fill it through the valve covers. You fill it through the dry sump container and the pickup on the side of the car, on the right side of the car. So this car takes a little bit more oil. She's a thirsty hoe. She takes 10 quarts of Mobil 1 oil, and that's what we're going to use. Let's go over here to the table where I got the oil. I'm going to throw my filter up here too for you guys. So we got 10 quarts of 5W30 and AC Delco filter. PF64 is the filter. Turn it around for you guys. Part number, in case anyone is wondering. And I just went ahead to my local store and obviously just got 2 Mobil 1 5 quarts of 5W30. GM uses Mobil 1 and it's obviously Dexos approved, so I'm just going to keep on doing it. And I've had nothing but success with Mobil 1 pretty much since I've used it. Also with Valvoline, Castrol, and stuff like that. But I also like Mobil 1. That's my brand preference. But put in with your car, obviously, what you like. If you put Valvoline in it, nothing bad is going to happen. So we will go on ahead and get this joker jacked up here real quick. Now, this car does have 2 drain plugs. It has one in the front of the pan and in the back of the pan. You do have to drain both of them. Let that drain out. Give it, 10, 15 minutes or so to let it drain out. Drop the car back down. Obviously, changing the filter as well, which is on the back of the block. It's a small block Chevy. And then we'll go ahead and throw the 10 quarts in, start her up, and validate that she has a good amount of oil. Now, I know this. I've done it before on this car, so it's pretty straightforward. I know it's going to swallow all 10 quarts. But always check and make sure, check your dipstick in the pump tank as well. So let's get this thing going. Also keep in mind the Corvette has 4 lift points. Now they make like pads and stuff that you can stick and screw underneath into the car. I don't have those. So what I use, believe it or not, I use hockey pucks. And hockey pucks, because they're a hell of a lot cheaper than those like $80 or $90 pads that you have to put in all 4 corners of the car. And you just throw the hockey pucks right there at the lift point, throw them on the jack, and the car goes right up. So we're gonna go ahead and I'll show you the where you're gonna go ahead and fill the oil. And you're gonna fill the oil right there. It says Dexos 530, and that's gonna be your dipstick. We're not gonna do any of that until we get this joker drained. So, go underneath once I get my creeper here in a second. I'll take you a little shot underneath the car. There's your oil filter, there's your drain plug, and there's your other drain plug at the front of the pan. So let's get this sucker drained. Under here. Keeps my babies clean. All right, baby. Now, one thing I want to point out, since I don't have a lift in my garage yet, is my car obviously sits on a tilted axis when I jack it up. So what I do is I lower the car down just below the pan so the pan can be pretty much level and everything can be dripped out. And I just let it rest here on the jack, obviously while I'm not underneath the car. And then I jack it back up, and I'll do it again for the front drain plug, just so I can have just some extra insurance. It takes me an extra minute or two. Let it sit there for a minute or two and let it all drain out. So we'll get the rest of the drained out in the front, and we'll start to fill her back up. And there we go, gotten to let it drain there right quick. So let the rest of it all come out, those 10 quarts. We'll get the filter off and throw some oil up top. All right, another thing that I wanted to point out that I actually have to do with my car, because it's supercharged and forced induction, and I take a little bit of extra precaution, is that I went ahead and changed the supercharger oil. My supercharger right here. So there is a drain plug here on the back of the supercharger, and I went ahead and let that drain out. So I filled that into the drain plug, and then I also have to drain my catch can from here from Elite Engineering. So I'll go ahead and drain that out, and then we're going to go ahead and start to fill that into the dry sump tank. All right, now that we got the car all buttoned up, we got it filled up with oil, 10 quarts of oil, and now we're gonna go do a quick test drive in there, and it's pretty straightforward. I did check it already, it's pretty full in the canister, and that's pretty much how you do an oil change on a C7. 2 front drain bolts in the pan, obviously the oil filter, and 10 quarts of oil into the bucket. So pretty straightforward. And now Snow White's ready to rock and roll. We also did change the supercharger fluid in the supercharger, and as well drain the catch can. So everything's going good and everything looks great. So, and I think that's gonna wrap it up for today's video. So again, if y'all like what you saw, don't forget to subscribe. Snow White's ready to get down for another beating on another motorcycle. Stay tuned. Peace, y'all.